renderforest.com.
Hi all, I'm Trisha Peach, host of the Peach Buzz. So happy to see you again. I just got home from doing kids church a minute ago. It went very well. I like getting to do kids church with my family now that my kids are teenagers. So today I wanted to talk about tips for getting your budget approved. And what if you've never done a budget? What if you've never ever done a budget? All right, so let's take this from the top. If you are brand new, you've just taken the position or you're about to take the position, one of the most important things to do is to ask for a copy of the previous year's budgets. I think 3 to 5 years would be good. And take a look at what is being spent. Now, I have had some churches tell me we don't have a budget. We don't have a budget for kids ministry. Well, they do and they don't. They probably spent something on kids ministry, whether they had a budget for it or not. You need to have a budget, but maybe they didn't have it officially, but they spent something on snacks. They spent something on videos, curriculum. Find out what was spent. Okay? Find out what was spent in the past. That's extremely important. Even if they tell you we have no budget, we've never had a budget, they've spent something. So find out what they spent. Secondly, you're going to need to look at what you're planning to do in the next year. This is crucially important to not just maintain what's been done in the past. You need to look at what you're going to need in the future. So if you're planning on starting a new curriculum, that needs to go into the budget. If you are planning on doing a VBS that's never been done before, that needs to go into the budget. If you're planning on doing back to school backpacks, that needs to be in the budget. So this is part of a whole system of planning the whole next year, maybe 2 or 3 years ahead of time. So you're going to have to think ahead and plan. Get out your calendar. Sometimes churches do this together. Our staff would do this together. It's very helpful. And figure out what you're going to do. Now, you can't plan for everything, but you do your very best. Also, one mistake that many pastors make when they are planning their budget is they plan for the same amount of people or the same amount of children they have now. Why are we not planning to grow? That's kind of part of the point, but they'll say, well, this is how many we've had every year. Well, then something needs to be done differently. So you plan for growth. Our senior pastor challenged everyone on staff to plan and budget for an 18% numerical growth. And we ended up having more than that, and then you have to do what you got to do, but it is a whole different mindset to plan to grow, to plan to outreach. So in your budget, are you planning on an increase of adults, youth, children? If you're not planning for increase, then you're literally just planning to stay the same or to decline. You're hampering yourself. So you need to plan for more children. Another big mistake that a lot of pastors make when doing their budget is they do not plan for things like craft materials which you use for VBS and such. What about teacher appreciation? Did you remember teacher appreciation? What about books and materials for you as a leader to build you up as a leader? Maybe you want to do a book together as a team. Maybe one of mine, your children's ministry from scratch, your children's ministry beyond basics. Little plug in there, little. So you may want to do a book together as a team or as a group. What about a conference? Too many pastors scramble at the last minute trying to get a conference when they didn't put it in their budget. Put it in your budget now that you want to have ongoing training. Other things frequently forgotten in a budget would be your giveaways, little small giveaways. How about advertising? If you're going to be handing out flyers at a parade, these things are often forgotten. But if you want to get your budget approved, you always have to start with vision This is what I'm going to do with the money. I'll tell you what, if you're sitting down with your board, if you get a chance to do that and say, yeah, just give me the money I had last year and I'm going to do all the same stuff I did last year and not grow, no wonder people don't get excited about it. I visited one church and the children's pastor, I think he'd gotten a little bit bitter. He said, the youth pastor gets such a big budget every year and I get nothing because they don't care about the kids. They don't care about kids ministry. And I asked him, have you ever asked for a bigger budget? Well, no, they don't care, because if they cared about the kids, they would just give me a bigger budget. How are they supposed to know what money you need? And then I asked him, are you using this amount every year that they're giving you? No. So he's complaining that he can't go to a conference. He's complaining that he can't get the set he needs, but he never asked them for it formally. He said, well, they should just know. They should know that we need more for the kids, and they just give it to the youth pastor. Well, I did a little digging, and that youth pastor did a very good job of writing a professional budget. Remember, a lot of these board members may have been in business in their, other jobs, and he would give reasoning, rationale for every single thing. And then he also said, here's what I did with the money you gave me last year. Kind of like with the talent, the parable of the talents. He's like, you gave me 5 and now I have 10, and I made something out of what this church gave me. Remember, you're talking about people's tithe money. This is people's sacrificial tithe money. The board has a duty to be very careful with people's tithe money. So the youth pastor was laying out, this is what I did with it, and this is who came to Christ, and this is how many families joined the church, and this is how I've grown, and now if you'll give me this amount, this is exactly what I'm going to do with it, and why. You can't sit there and whine that the church doesn't care about kids ministry if you've never explained to them what you're doing with it and why, and what are you going to do with it and why. What are the successes? What are the testimonies? And you shouldn't be doing the passive aggressive, well, they should just know. Why? How should they know? That's why they have you. Usually the church, the main service is here, and all other ministries are rotating around in their own orbit. And many times the only staff person who knows what happened in kids ministry is you. It's just you. May not be fair, but that's the way it is. So you have to tell them. If you don't get a chance to speak to them directly, put it in writing and say, these are the amazing wins we've had in kids ministry this last year. This boy came to Christ. This family got back together. These are the things that happened in kids ministry with the money that you gave me. And this is what I need for next year because I'm going to do this with it. And it shouldn't just be, yeah, we're going to keep all of our programs on life support and survive. That's, oh Lord, if that's all you're doing, pull the plug and let that thing go, because there's some other ministries that are going and growing and reaching people for Jesus that could use those resources. Instead, you need to come in with, you know what, our church's mission is to reach people who have never heard of Christ. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do this outreach within the public school and the backpack challenge, and this is what it's going to cost. And don't give some number that's out in the middle of nowhere. We can't get lazy on the budget end of it. I know, trust me, I know when you're in the middle of ministry, you don't want to be bugged with these detail things. You just want a mic and a whole bunch of kids and go love on children. But it doesn't work that way. If you want to do quality ministry, you're going to have to get your tail in gear, sit down, do the hard work of research, and find out exactly what everything is going to cost. And for us at our church, we had to find out 3 quotes for anything over a certain amount. 3 quotes. So we had to do our research. We had to sit down and say, you can't just say, I want this speaker. Okay, give 3 quotes on similar speakers and where you think you should get it and why you should get it. That's called rationale. Rationale is explaining why you want that specific thing for the ministry. How are you going to use it? What is it for? The importance here with kids ministry is many of those people sitting on that board have no idea why you would want a steel puppet stage that's portable rather than a PVC. Why don't you want the old wooden stage? You literally have to spell it out. Why would they be experts in this thing? That's why they have you. So you're going to need to say, I need it because the wooden stage is not portable and we're wanting to set it up to do VBS on the sidewalk during the year, and the PVC it breaks down easily or cracks, so this stage we can use for the next 10, 15 years or more. Put your rationale in there and don't assume everyone else knows why you want a soft mouth vent puppet rather than a full body costume puppet. Explain what it is, give some comparable prices, and explain why you want it and how you're going to use it. And make sure you've put a lot of vision in there. Vision, 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 as well as those testimonies of what God has done. And then make sure it's thorough, done with excellence, and that you've thought of the little incidentals. If you do that and then down the road you accidentally forgot something, I think they're going to have a whole lot more grace than if you threw some junk together and kind of tossed it at them. Remember, they are tasked to take care of people's tithe money and also to make sure that funds are being used in a right way, because those scandals will rock a whole church. Money mismanagement is a big one. So they're working for you. Please don't be a pain to them. Work with them. And I would also encourage you, before you go in there, pray, 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 and don't assume that the people of your board don't care if you haven't given them a detailed budget and proven you're going to put it to good use. Show them how you used it before. Tell them how you're going to use it again. Then, if they look at all of that for a couple of years or 2 or 3 years and say, nope, we're not giving any money to the kids ministry, then it might be time to move on to a different church that does prioritize kids ministry. But to jump and run when you didn't even give them a chance is not really fair. So explain it. God has you there as a mouthpiece to break it down and explain what you need and why. You know, so help them to understand. Remember, attitude is extremely important. Going in there with a servant's attitude, an attitude of cooperation, not I'm a rock star, give me what I want, and how dare you ask me. No, that's their job. And we're wanting to do ministry. I think we all want that to happen. So attitude, keep that wonderful attitude. And then if they say no, here's a big one. Remember, it takes time to get credibility. If you just got there, maybe give them a year. If they say no to some budget items this year, give them a year. One place I was the 8th children's pastor in 8 years, and they said no to my budget the first year because they said, nobody lasts longer than 9 months, you won't be here. And I said, well, if I'm here in a year, I want you to approve my budget. And they just kind of laughed. Well, a year later, I had the testimonies, we had the growth, I had the vision plan, I was still there, and I got my budget approved. So if they say no, don't get your feelings hurt. Just determined to show them that you're committed and that you are going to do something great with the resources that you're given. All right, I hope that's encouraging. God bless you as you put together that budget for next year, even if it's the first one your church has ever had. Good luck, make it amazing. And I'm going to link my blog below because I'm going to put some samples of budgets in my blog so you could take a look at my sample and maybe even use it if you want. All right. Love you all. God bless. Thank you for the ministry you do for Jesus and his kids. Thanks. Bye-bye.